What's up, guys? It's another episode of Review the Right Thing. How's everybody doing today? It's been a couple weeks again. Obviously no surprise to most of you. If you've been watching my channel for a little while, you knew during quarantine I was basically weekly, even sometimes multiple times a week. Now that we're out of quarantine for the most of us, a lot of us are getting back to work. I've been back to work for a few months now. And so it's basically every other week that I'm getting videos out. So, again, like I said in my last one, if you watched my last review, the carbonized figures that I just picked up. So obviously, I have a couple things in mind that I want to talk about. It basically is just making the time to get it done. So I've got a couple figures that I want to talk about that I've picked up recently. There's tons of music that I want to talk about. I need to do separate videos on those or figure out a way to group them together to where they will still get some exposure. I would prefer them, and I gotta stop saying damn. I would prefer that, you know, people see them and they do get kind of like a bigger viewing. So a lot of the metal reviews that I did have had, you know, over 100 views at this point, you know, so that's what I'm kind of looking for. And the ones that I've done multiple reviews in one thing, they haven't got as much exposure. That could also be partly because of the way I did my description, possibly. You know, obviously I've just started all this. I'm very new. I'm still learning things as I go. I'm not the type of person that I really ask for a whole lot of help. I try to find information online where I can and just learn. I'm a hands-on person. I'd rather learn myself, because then I know. Anyways, so I've got plenty of things I want to talk about. I got to get those out, and that'll happen eventually. So, without any further putting off, let's get into some stuff. I picked up a few vinyl recently, and a couple CDs. This is all obviously within the last couple weeks. So there is a few things here. It's actually since Record Store Day. So, because there is one Record Store Day item in here that I was able to snag. Let's get this going. First up, when I was picking up the Record Store Day stuff, place I grabbed my Record Store Day item had this from last year. They actually had it marked down half off though, still brand new. Naughty by Nature, Poverty's Paradise from 1996. This was, I'm pretty sure it was 96. Or not 96. Yeah, 85. Which seems early as hell. I don't know why I thought this was a lot later than it is. But this album's pretty awesome though. I have not got a whole lot of a chance to spin it yet, just because I've picked up several things. I'm also watching random stuff, playing video games, whatever. So the record has not been spun more than once. It's a great album though. If you like classic rap, 80s and 90s specifically, definitely give Naughty by Nature a spin. They're pretty great. And I believe this was actually just on black vinyl. Oh, no. I forgot. This is like they call it a clear smoke press. But anyways, it's pretty cool. So that's from last year, 25th anniversary. Next up, we've got the item that I did grab for Record Store Day then. Tyler, the Creator's Cherry Bomb on vinyl. I have this on CD, so now I'll be able to part with the CD after I rip it to my computer. Use that trade-in towards something else cool. It is on red vinyl. I do believe... Yeah. But I'd have to go back and check on Discogs, because I feel like there was a release when it first came out, but maybe there wasn't. Maybe this is true, and this is the first time it's been on vinyl. If you're not familiar with Tyler, the Creator, he's from a group, Odd Future. Early stuff is not for everybody, for sure. He kind of started off as more of a horrorcore rapper. Highly offensive lyrics. Doesn't bother me, but some people it does. I, for the most part, thought it was cheesy. You know, when I first kind of started getting into rap, Brother Lynch Hung was something that a buddy of mine kind of pushed on me a little bit. He is classic, but he's very vulgar. He's that horrorcore element, all about violence and stuff like that. Very explicit graphic lyrics. So to me, Tyler was kind of trying to fill that gap, but it felt nerdy and childish. So it just didn't appeal to me at the time. It wasn't until basically Scumfuck Flower Boy that it kind of really grabbed me. And then even so more when I watch a lot of the Tiny Desk concerts from NPR, and he has a Tiny Desk on there, and it's awesome. So I really, really enjoyed that. Found out a lot of those songs then were, from Scumfuck, so that's basically what got me to go back to that album and listen to it. And then when Igor came out, I bought that upon release, and I really enjoyed that album a lot too. Since then, I've gone back to Wolf and Goblin, and Cherry Bomb. Cherry Bomb's obviously the left field, though. It's more of a kind of like a rock experimental record. It's definitely still has its hip-hop, but there's a lot more instrumentation. It's definitely weirder than his normal stuff, but I really like that record a lot. I know a lot of his big fans, I don't think, liked it as much. It's very divisive in the Tyler, the Creator fandom. But like I said, I like this record a lot. And to basically just sum it up, I appreciate him a lot more now than I did before, including his earlier stuff where it is him basically going that more horrorcore rap route where, he's talking about violence and really gruesome things. It's like I said, because that stuff doesn't bother me anyways, and it doesn't seem as, childish and amateur now that I know him basically as an artist, because he even still gets that way on newer stuff, but it's less, there's a lot more wordplay involved, so I guess it fits the overall, fits him, and I know he struggles a lot with, a lot of things. He's got anxiety, mental illness, and stuff like that, so, his raps are very much a blanket of, Tyler as a person, so I understand it and I appreciate it a lot more now, but like I said, it took me listening to his newer stuff to get into basically everything that he's done. This is something I just kind of grabbed on a whim because I thought the cover was awesome, but this group is Hail Spirit Noir, and now I'm obsessed. I actually have another one of their records down here too that I ordered after picking this up. Oi Magoi is the name of this record. It is their second album. They are basically similar to the Arensi Pajuju stuff, very much psychedelic black metal, where Arensi Pajuju goes more on the heavy rock, heavy psych, experimental side. These guys kind of stick more to just the heavy rock. It's very, I wouldn't want to say stripped down, but it doesn't rely on going all over the place and being grandiose. It kind of keeps it more rooted to just the heavy rock, some heavy keys, and the black metal. It's awesome though. Really recommend this record. Their newest album just came out. I think it's Eden of Paradise or something like that. Came out this year, so I've gone back to listen to that. That one, basically, there is no black metal vocals. So it is basically just a heavy psych prog album. I think the music in the newest one still has a lot of a black metal edge to it, but there is no vocals. So very different from previous works, but it's great. Highly recommend this band. But this was my jumping on point. Awesome record. Since I had it out, we'll just go ahead and just flip through. I didn't pick this up around the same time, but this is their other one. This was their third record, Mayhem in Blue. By the way, both of these were just on black vinyl. So this is their second record, still keeps the heavy psych, heavy keys, black metal vocals going on. So not much has changed between these two albums. Like I said, the newest one gets a little bit different, which was the album right afterwards. You can definitely see that's where they're going with this. I would say this record has a little bit more clean singing than that record did. That one has a good balance of both. So this one you can definitely see they're kind of going more in that range, but still has some heavy black metal influence to it. By the way, these guys are from Greece. I really like the Greece scene for the most part too. I feel like more so than anybody, they are willing to experiment with black metal, which I appreciate because, you know, as much as I love the cold, you know, hollow sound that classic black metal has, I think that black metal is maybe unfair because, you know, there's tons of bands that, you know, incorporate many different elements, but I feel like arguably black metal is one of the ones that you can do more with, and you have your hardcore fans who aren't willing to accept that black metal can do other things, and they just want it to stay the same. They want every band to just be, you know, the next Bathory or the next Burzum, you know, and so, or the next Cradle if you go for their early stuff, or, you know, Mayhem, any of those guys. So, but nobody wants Death Heaven, and nobody wants, you know, Wolves in the Throne Room, things that are willing to kind of go outside the box a little bit more. Obviously, Wolves in the Throne Room, I think, is a little bit more accepted in the black metal community, but Death Heaven is not, because they are very shoegazy, lots of pretty open chords, black metal, and it's too clean for most people. They don't like it. So, anyways, going back to this, I was getting off tangent. The Greek are willing to just experiment more with black metal, I feel like, for the most part, and so these guys are no different, and so I've really enjoyed the stuff that has come out of Greece as far as black metal goes. Properly butchering this name, this is something I also picked up that I was less familiar with, grabbed it solely based on label. Ganja Sufi, Sufi and a Killer. This is his debut album from 10 years ago, 2010. He is kind of like singer-songwriter, but very experimental, kind of mixes some, you know, lo-fi electronics in there. Sounds very analog, very lo-fi and dirty. It's awesome, though. He's got an awesome voice. It's very gruff, kind of Tom Waits-ish, you know, in a way. But obviously the style of, you know, singer-songwriter that he's going for is different than Tom Waits, even though Tom Waits gets very eclectic. This is definitely more for the, you know, lo-fi, electronic, abstract kind of listen. So, like I said, I grabbed this basically just because it's on Warp Records. Warp Records is a label that does everything from Aphex Twin to Broadcast to Flying Lotus. So it's kind of all over the place with electronic music. They, I know, have done other things too. Like, I want to say, God, I had some rock artist put out some stuff on Warp. So obviously no different. This guy's not, you know, just totally electronic, so it doesn't fit the basic mold. Oh, yes, I had it, damn it. Boards of Canada is on Warp Records, I'm pretty sure, too. So it doesn't fit the normal mold that Warp Records goes for, so it's a little bit different, but like I said, I just grabbed it because it was on Warp Records. But this is a great record. Really like it a lot. Another one I've only spun once just because time constraints and just doing other things. Also only on Black Wax, but recommend this if you like your singer-songwriters with a little bit something different to it. Obviously, classic here. If you don't recognize that, there's basically more of the original photo from the CD there. Earl Sweatshirt's Doris, great hip-hop record. So I had this on CD, didn't have it on vinyl, so decided to grab that. I'm pretty sure it is also just on Black Wax. Yep, so nothing too special. It's a little dirty. It was a used copy. But worth snagging because I love this guy. I think everything he's done is awesome. I really like the EP that he put out last year. I haven't spun the EP that he put out this year a whole lot. I have music ADD when it comes to listening to stuff on Spotify and digitally, so that's mostly the reason I prefer to have physical copies, is because I feel like it forces me to listen to the entire piece. And also I like to have the stuff, you know, I want to be able to look at the shelf and be like, oh, cool, look at look at this, you know, pull it out years from now and be like, I'm gonna put this on and be really excited about it. It's like having it all over again. And maybe I'm the only person that's like that. I doubt anybody else gets that excited when they pull things off the shelf that they've had for years and they're like a kid in the candy store and it's like, yeah, I have this. Another one I just picked up then recently, band that I was also less familiar with, but I've been listening to it a little bit on Spotify. They came up as similar artists to Hiatus Coyote, which it's definitely still in that vein. I have to go back and listen to their old one. From what I understand, it's definitely more jazzy. But they are kind of like a funk psych group, Khruangbin, and this album is Mordechai. It's spelled kind of weird if you guys aren't familiar with them, so it's spelled Khruangbin, but it's pronounced Khruangbin, and I guess it's, if you want to pronounce it in its original Thai, it's like Khruangbin? Because I don't think they pronounce the N or the Ang part or whatever, so it's just Krua. You'd have to obviously do some research on that. But anyways, album from this year. This is pretty awesome. It's basically, like I said, more of the psych funk. Less on the jazzy side that a lot of people say that their earlier stuff has. So it doesn't have as much in common with the Hiatus Coyote because they're heavy jazz, heavy soul, funk type stuff, but it's heavy on the jazz, you know, and this is definitely less on the jazz, but 3-piece, female vocals, Texas, it's pretty awesome. I like this album a lot. The first, you know, go through, I was kind of less pulled in, but once they basically got to basically the third track, this Kinesis de Face, I am butchering that, I'm sure. Anyways, that song's pretty awesome. And then Dearest Alfred's also a great track here closer to the end of the record. Basically, with those two tracks, it really kind of pulled me in a little bit more. I felt I was kind of spacing out a little bit a couple times. I was also driving when I was listening to this, doing some deliveries. So, like I said, those kind of songs pulled me back in, spun it again all the way through, paid a little bit more attention to it. Really great record, though. Highly recommend this. And it's something that I didn't have in my collection, as embarrassing as that is to say, and I didn't have any in my collection at all until I just picked up Evil Empire recently. It was actually kind of hard to track this one down for some reason. You know, the company I work for, we carry it new for like $24 or whatever, but nobody had it. Like, none of our Ohio stores had it, none of our PA stores had it, so I had to have one of the Chicago stores ship it over. I mean, I could have ordered it anywhere on Discogs and stuff like that too, but it's just easier just to pops over in delivery within like a week, and you know, then I have it. So, but anyways, this is the 20th anniversary edition, the XX 180 gram remaster of the first Rage album. Like I said, I didn't have this in any format. Rage is just one of those things. I loved those guys when I was growing up, but there's a lot of that stuff that music that I grew up on. My tastes shifted over the years as I became more exposed to music, as I discovered more things, as I opened up to more things. You know, there was so many things that I'd be so close-minded to before. So basically, as I kind of gained more of an appreciation for music as a whole and let myself be exposed and enjoy other things, a lot of the stuff that I listened to back in high school was just like, oh, there's no way I like that anymore. I had to basically rediscover all these artists again, you know, like Deftones, or I'm trying to think of other things that I actually still enjoy. I still like some older Fear Factory stuff. The bands that I listened to then and listen to now that carried over are very few. So Rage was another one of those things I had to kind of go back to, and it was, you know, things like Run the Jewels with, you know, Zach De La Rocca being on those tracks. And I would always talk about, oh, I need to re-listen to those albums again, yada, yada, yada. And then 2020 rolls around and shit's burning. And even before people were telling Tom Morello to leave his political, you know, his political views to himself, I started spinning Rage because it was like, this is a weird year. It's, you know, I was feeling something, you know, highly political and angry and pissed off. So I was like, I'm gonna pop in some Rage. So I finally started listening to some Rage again after however many years. And I was like, man, they are still just as good as they were when I was back in high school. And Loving the shit out of these guys. So I bought Evil Empire on vinyl. Now I'm buying Self-Titled on vinyl in 2020. Man, late to the game, but great record. I would assume most people are familiar with this. If you've ever played Guitar Hero, Killing in the Name of is one of the tracks you play on there. And even if that's the only song you know, you can say that song kicks ass. So go listen to more of their stuff. So this is one of the ones I picked up along with the Hail Spirit Noir. There's another one down here I'll show you. Basically, I picked up all those three at once. And because I knew of the other band here, it was something that I had listened to on Spotify and saved it in one of my playlists. I was pretty excited when I found it on vinyl. And because it was with these two things, I decided to give them a try. And I also looked it up and saw what it was. I don't know if you're going to pronounce it Dynfari or Dynfari. Italian atmospheric black metal. Pretty awesome though. This is their first record. It's from 2013, I believe. 2015. So, but Vegferð Tímans or Tímans? One of those. Because it's Italian, so I'm trying to think how I'd pronounce some of those letters. Anyways, black vinyl, so nothing too special, but pretty awesome. It's more on the generic side. I definitely wasn't as excited about this as I was the Hail Spirit Noir. The Hail Spirit Noir kind of felt like you get, after so many years, I've been listening to so many genres and just really diving into music as a whole for the last 15 years and really pushing myself into it and really coming out of the other side, I feel like knowing a lot more and appreciating a lot more. And so I don't want to call these guys generic, but it definitely didn't grab me the same as the Hail Spirit Noir. The Hail Spirit Noir felt very fresh, felt like something I hadn't exposed myself to as much, so I was very excited. And even on repeated listens, it hasn't lost that luster. Like, it feels like that Orenzi Pajuju, but, like I said, not as crazy, a little bit more rooted into just the rock, but it kicks ass, and it's just hard to, not enjoy. This I still really enjoyed, but like I said, it's a little bit more generic, kind of your more basic atmospheric black metal. Awesome players though, so I do recommend giving these guys a spin. They have a new album coming out. I've listened to the new single. Kind of lukewarm on the new single, but maybe, as a whole, this project will grow on me as I listen to it more. I have only spun it like once. Yeah, so I haven't given it a whole lot of time yet. Sometimes things take a little bit. You don't really understand them or appreciate everything that goes into the record until the second, third, fourth, fifth listen. Sometimes, even more. Who knows? Sometimes you may never get a record. But anyways, I'll have to spin this some more. I enjoyed what I've listened to. Tobacco. So this is a group that I am familiar with through Black Moth Super Rainbow. Some more electronic. However, they use a lot of analog recording equipment. It's not very digital. It's very dirty, and there's a lot of crazy sounds. But I really like this kind of style of electronic. This is kind of what got me into appreciating more electronic stuff. This and Aphex Twin and Broadcast. I've named a couple throughout this video. So this is Tobacco. This is their album from last year called The Sweatbox Dynasty. I did buy this album on CD as well. I have not listened to it a whole lot, so, shame on me. Had that, bought it, probably listened to it a couple times in my car, and then who knows, I just, I'll buy a bunch of stuff. It's always weird. I don't buy, one thing and then listen to it. I'll buy 5 CDs in one day, and then I've listened to a couple of them, and then a week later I buy 5 more, and then it's just it takes me a minute to get to some of this stuff. And again, just like my movies and my comics and everything else, when I retire I will have a lot to enjoy. Either that or I'll discover a lot of music that I hate, but I doubt it, because I spin everything at least once. I already know what I'm getting into, especially with these guys. So, I'm more than likely going to enjoy it. Like I said, I have to spin it again because, I bought it when it came out and only listened to it the one time, so I don't really remember much of it, but I know what to expect out of Tobacco, so I'm sure I'm going to like it. So this is the one that came in with the other two records. This is Fenn, their album Winter. This is their 4th or 5th album, I believe. And it's actually the album that I kind of discovered them with. So it came out 2017, I think. So it was just a couple years ago. But I really like this record. Awesome band. They are kind of also more of the atmospheric black metal. But they're, you know, not as out there. It keeps a little bit more rooted. It's more of like a post-rocky kind of sound to it. But highly recommend this record. It's a great record. So this is the one I was pretty excited about. And because the other ones came in with it, I was like, well, obviously they're all going to be within the same kind of realm. So that's when I just started doing research and then picked them up. This is on a pretty cool press, though. It is like a clear green. So that's pretty neat. This band have been basically shitting my pants about all of the last, month or so. Yeah, month, because I think it just came out like a month ago. But I just discovered these guys, and I bought a CD for one, vinyl for one, and it's because their newest album on vinyl is kind of expensive, and it's a little bit more than I want to pay for it. So, but anyways, Imperial Triumphant. This is their album Abyssal Gods. So this album is pretty sweet on black, so nothing too fancy there. But if you're not familiar, they are kind of a black metal, death metal, jazz hybrid. I would say musically, the older stuff still has that kind of death metal edge. Vocally, it's definitely more black metal. Newer stuff gets a little bit more gruff, a little bit more guttural, deeper vocals to it. So it kind of has more of that death metal edge to it now. So, but you can definitely still hear the black metal influences in the music, heavy jazz influence in the music. So these guys are fucking nuts, though. I love their record from this year. I have not done a review on it yet, but I would give it very high marks. It's up there with the new Ulcerate for me. I have done a review on the Ulcerate, in which I gave that a 10. So, that I have pretty high regards for the Alphaville from Imperial Triumphant, which I'll show you in a second on CD. So maybe I would give that a 10. It would be one I would really like to talk about and do a review on it and really break it down. But I don't know. I'd probably give it a 10. I mean, it's a fucking awesome record. And I would say this one's pretty up there too. Obviously I got on with some of the newer stuff, but the one track on here, hopefully it shows me the song titles. Yeah, Dead Heaven. Wow, that song rips. So that was kind of one, I was just so excited about the new one. I always go back and check out old material. They were a band I normally would start with, number one, but I just went back to the one from last year just because I was curious. And man, that song hits you in the face like a brick. It is crazy. It does these melting riffs, and it's nuts. It's kind of hard to wrap my head around it, but I love it. So this is their album from last year. Like that a lot. Like I said, picked up their CD from this year because the vinyl's on Century Media, which is a big label, but they're charging $39.99. I spent $31 for the Ulcerate. Obviously, it's on a smaller label, but I think $30 is an appropriate price. $30, $31, $32, even $35 to an extent. But man, that better be including shipping, because $35 for a record's pretty steep. However, $40 is even worse. So I didn't want to spend $40 on the record. I could buy, there's plenty of other things I can buy and enjoy with that $40. Spend $13 on the CD. So, since I'm showing off CDs, might as well show off. I also picked up the new T-Swift. T-Swift is not somebody I'm normally a huge fan of. However, I think this album's pretty awesome. It's still very poppy. Sounds like Taylor Swift, but it's definitely showcasing more of a softer singer-songwriter kind of folk side to her. And I really enjoy it. part of the reason I also picked it up too is it's one of the signed editions. So I just thought that was kind of cool from a collectability standpoint. I'll never get rid of it, but I just like having stuff like that. And Embalmer. Oh, Emanations from the Crypt. God, I'm an idiot. So, but anyways, some brutal death metal. These guys are from Ohio. I know Brian kind of well just from seeing him play in Necrotic Disgorgement. Brian Baxter, hello if you ever see this. But I believe he's actually from Columbus. The rest of the band's from Cleveland. But anyways, kick-ass players. This is their first one on a major label, I'm pretty positive, because I had some older stuff. Or no, because they had some stuff issued on Relapse. So what am I thinking? This one's on Hell's Headbangers, though. Red vinyl, I believe. Yeah, like a reddish, like a magenta. But anyways, awesome death metal. Very heavy, very guttural, in your face. Brian plays guitar, I'm pretty sure. He played bass in Necrotic, but he was a nasty bass player. And great guitar player, too. These guys rock, so definitely check this out. And that's it. I have a couple more, but the video's getting kind of long. And, you know, I might as well wrap this up. So, the last three are just another thing that's from last year. I'll just be quick. Wilco, Ode to Joy. Another thing I bought because it was super cheap. It was a closeout title that I found at a store, sealed for half price. So it was like 13 bucks. And I didn't have the CD. And I like Wilco. I haven't listened to this album yet from last year. But I figured for 13 bucks, that's what the CD would probably cost me too. Buy a record. And Gorillaz Demons. Also, amazing classic record. This is the Vinyl Me Please reissue. It is on red, which is pretty cool. So this, like the Tyler, is probably one of the most recognizable things in this video. So I'm sure most people know about Gorillaz Demons. If you don't, go check it out. It is a fake group done by Damon Albarn, from Blur. So very similar to Blur, mixes hip hop and trip hop though too, with more kind of indie rock styles as well. You know, like I said, most people know who this band is. Awesome. It was just something that, you know, found it and was like, yeah, I want the vinyl. It's a great record. So anyways, that's it though, guys. Thanks for watching. If you guys picked up anything recently, do you like any of the pickups I've picked up? Do you guys have any of the things that I pick up or that I've picked up? Let's chit chat about them in the comments. If you're new to my page, this is what I do. Kind of collection updates, reviews on figures, reviews on Blu-ray, which I have not done in a long time, reviews on music, all kinds of different stuff. So if you like, hit the like on the video, click subscribe, the little bell's down there. I also post my Instagram stuff here. You can follow me there. If you know me personally, you know that I'm never on social media, so I go through this weird thing where, you know, I'll post multiple things a day, or not a day, but I'll post multiple things over several days on Instagram, and then I won't post anything for a week. So this is one of those times I haven't posted anything on there in several days. So, you know, I do like to show off my collection, obviously, here, there, everywhere. I like to talk about it, mostly just that. I mean, I'm not trying to, you know, show off. But, you know, I want people to enjoy it too, you know. I'm sure there's other people out there that have large collections. Elliot Cohen's got a giant Blu-ray collection. Millions of people follow him. Not millions of people, but anyways. So yeah, I mean, if you like my videos, click like, subscribe, follow. You'll get to see them every time I upload them. It'll notify you. And this has been Review the Right Thing. Thanks again, guys, for watching. Love you all. Stay safe. And I'll see you soon.